This lesson is about unit rate. In our other lesson we talked about a rate. And a rate was a ratio where you compare two different units of measurement. A unit rate is much more useful. And a unit rate is a rate where the second number is 1 or the denominator is 1. And as I say, these are much more useful than rates because it enables us to compare different things more easily. So if we go back to our example of 300 miles in 6 hours, then we can figure out the unit rate by taking 300 divided by 6 and getting 50 miles for 1 hour, or what is known as 50 miles per hour. And that way we know the average speed of our journey. And 50 miles an hour for a journey that long is actually pretty good because you have to stop for gas and you have to stop and maybe get something to eat. So that's quite a good speed. So this is one of the ways we can use unit rate. Unit rate also has two other names that you need to know this year. The second one is constant of proportionality. Now that's a very long phrase for unit rate. It's much more useful to say unit rate because the title helps you understand what it is. Constant proportionality is not something that really instantly comes to mind. And then the other name for it is slope. And that we can see a little bit more easily. If I were to graph my journey at 50 miles an hour, we start at 0, 0 through the origin because after 0 hours we have gone 0 miles. So I plot it, and if you remember, slope is rise, or the change in y, over run, or the change in x. And so our rise goes here. Let's take from the second to the third hour. Our rise is 50, from 100 to 150, and we changed in 1 hour. So that rise of 50 over 1 hour is the same as our unit rate. So on a graph, the slope is the unit rate. Now, if we go back to our examples of travel, I also had the example of my trip of 300 miles using 15 gallons of gas. So if I divide this, then I'll end up getting 20 over 1. That is a unit rate. And this is miles, gallons. And this is what is 20 mpg, miles per gallon. If you watch car ads on TV, they'll tell you the gas mileage that a car gets. And so that was 20 miles per gallon. The second example we had in the last video on travel was the map. And so on this map that I had, 60 miles was shown on the map as 3 inches. Now, if I then want to look at the map for another distance, then I know that, again, this is going to be 20 to 1. So this is 20 miles to the inch. So now if I measure my distance on the map, I can take that number of inches and times by 20 and get the actual mileage for that distance on the map. Another example here, consumers. We talked about how there was a lot of different usages for in consumer math. So here we have 2 cans of corn. The first one is 12 ounces for $1.20. The second one is 21 ounces for $1.80. So which is the better buy? And here we are just basing it on just price per ounce, which is our unit rate. So I take price, put it over the number of ounces, and I will get 0.1, which means 10 cents for 1 ounce. So it's 10 cents an ounce for that can of corn. Then I take the next one and I do price per ounce, so price on top divided by the ounces, and I will get 0.857. No, I won't. I will get 0.0857. That's what I'll get. Now, this is money, and we've often talked about how we can only go to 2 decimal places for money. But when you're figuring price per ounce, you can go ahead and go further because you're not going to buy just an ounce. We're just figuring something that we're not really going to be able to buy. So here it's sort of 8 0.57 cents per ounce. So we have 8.5 cents and 10 cents. So which is the better buy? The 21-ounce can. Now if you go to the grocery store, often they will have a label on the shelf like this, and it'll have the price, $2.42 for something, and up in the corner it'll have a price per ounce, or price per can if it's, say, sodas, or price per individual can of something else if it's a multi-pack of something. And so often we have now price per ounce in the grocery store, so you don't have to sit and figure this out or take your calculator with you to the store. All right, so which was the better buy? The better buy was the 21-ounce can. Now in class, we will discuss why we might not buy everything just based on the price or the price per ounce. And some of the reasons are that maybe they are out of this can. Maybe we can't even get it. So there's no point worrying about that this is the better buy if this is the only can that's available that day. The other thing may be that this may be a store brand, and this may be a name brand, and there are a lot of people who they'll try a store brand of a particular item and then like the name brand better. Sometimes there's no difference, but sometimes there is. So those are a couple of reasons. Size of the packet. If you don't want that much of something, and this is true more of perishable items like milk or bread, if you're not going to use a gallon of milk within the time that its date before it goes off, then what's the point in spending more for the gallon, even though it's a better price per ounce, than to buy the half gallon that you'll actually use and you won't have to throw any away. And the last one I'll mention here is preference. On Cokes, if Pepsi's are on sale, but I don't like Pepsi, I don't care how much. It's going to work out cheaper per can if I buy a 12-pack or a 24-pack. If I don't like Pepsi, I'm not going to buy it. So in class, we usually come up with anywhere from 10 to 20 reasons why we might buy something based on something other than the price per ounce. And so that will be one of our activities in class. Some of the other things we'll do in class for this type of thing is we will look at different items and their different prices and do some comparison on price per ounce in class. So all of these are examples of unit rate, finding out, how much for one of something, how long for 1 mile. All these things are unit rates. And in another video, we're going to talk about how to work out the unit rate when the numbers maybe are not as easy to understand as these.